All right. Hey friend, and welcome back to another plein air painting series. I'm still in my mother and father's house, and we are going to be painting in the backyard today. They have 3 fruit trees, a lemon tree, an orange tree, and maybe another lemon tree, or maybe it's a clementine, tangerine. I think it's a tangerine tree. Anyway, there's 3 lovely, very just voluptuous fruit trees back here. And not that they're necessarily, well, they are kind of fall, winter. Citrus is a nice thing to have a lot in the winter, you know, if you're talking traditional Chinese medicine and just like healthiness with all the vitamin C. But you know, when you think fall, you think like cinnamon, pumpkin spice latte, pumpkin, stuff like that. But the orange tree kind of mixes it up a little bit. I also love the orange and green colors, and it's just I love painting trees. So we are gonna do that, and painting outside is lovely. There are some challenges. I have a little side table over here for my water cups, and I'm gonna use a size 12 or size 10 round heritage 4050 brush from Princeton. Get all the words. It's a mouthful. And I'll link to all the supplies that I use are always linked in the descriptions of my videos. But I'm going to start with this green color and a bigger round brush. Not my small I only brought because we're outside. I'm not like lugging my whole brush thingy and like all my brushes, all my paints, etc. I'm just bringing just a couple. And this is also a great way to challenge yourself to simplify and try things differently. So I'm starting with the side of the size 10 brush, using the belly of it, and just doing these like scribbly, swirly motions to get the overall fluffy shape of the tree down. I don't need this to look exactly like the tree I'm looking at in my mom's backyard. I don't need it to be the same exact shape or anything like that. I'm just doing like a more round, fluffy, sap green scribbly do, and making sure that I don't have tons of water on my brush because I want to use the dry texture of the brush that's coming through as kind of that organic leaf shape. So I'm going to leave it like that and then get my color down for the trunk, which will be a little burnt umbery. I'm going to add some blue to it because I just want to cool it down. So Prussian blue, cool it down, make it kind of a grayish brown, smoky gray brown, very natural earthy tones. And these trees are like hanging all the way to the ground, the green part. So I'm going to have this trunk kind of just poking out right below where my leaves are going. Using the thin part of the brush for these thinner branches. So the round brush has a nice 2-in-1 element to it. Using it on its side, like the belly of the brush, you get the thick stroke, which is what we did for this fluffy stuff, and the trunk. But using the tip of the brush, you can do little to no pressure. Practice that too, because you can go a lot thinner than you might think. For the branches, stems, anything that's supposed to be, you know, on the thinner side, wispier side. So we've got our branches. Now I'm going to go back in with a thicker, creamier sap green. Maybe a little bit of cupric green for a bluish undertone. A little bit more vibrant. Little Prussian blue. And if you're worried about grabbing green and then mixing it with blue and having the green on the blue and stuff like that, you can wash your brush off between. I don't really. Maybe it's laziness or just I go with the flow typeness. I don't, mostly just because I know I can just take the color off the blue with water, you know. So we're doing more of like a graphic style of shadow on these leaves. So I'm going to the base, like if my sun or light source was over here, it'd be blocked and we would just have the bottom sections of these fluffs would be in shadow. So I'm concentrating more of that shadow on the bottom. And I'm doing these belly strokes, swirl, swirl, swirl. Same thing with the dry brush texture, and then using the point for more loosey-goose leaf shape. Okay. And there's a nice light spot over here, so I'm gonna have my shadow side be more so over there. Grabbing just a touch of water because my pigment was a little too dry for my liking. Going up here, adding those blobs and dots and leafies. Making sure my dotty shapes aren't all the same. We don't want them to look uniform. So not going in the same direction, not the same size. So kind of twist and twirl your brush around as you do these little points and dots. And same thing with your wider strokes too. You don't want all your shapes to look so uniform. That's one of the easiest things when I look at a painting and I critique it in my Patreon. I have a membership where I do art critiques every month. And so my artists are submitting their art and having it critiqued. And I give them pointers, like little things that you don't think about when you're painting that just take it up a notch and make it look a bit more refined. So now I'm going to start adding in my orange. So because my green is already laid down, I need a thick orange, and I'm going to do cadmium orange with Scarlet Lake and a little pink so that it's not just such a, Crayola bright orange. And these are just going to be little bitty because it's cute. Using the tip of this size 10 brush, and we're adding in these oranges. Because I'm using such a creamy consistency, I can go on top of some of this green that's still wet, and it won't matter because it's too thick to blend. That's cute and nice. And the birdies would love to hang out in this orange tree and sing their little songs. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Okay. Now I'm gonna add just a couple more green bits for shadow, but it's denser down here in this bottom section, and then it just gets sprucier and lighter, less dense with the shadow color. But it still is creamy consistency, so it's matte. It stays on top of the light green base. And all you need is just like a little tiny hummingbird slurp of water. Might go back over some areas on the very bottom for an even deeper shadow. More dimension, like so. And then we'll do some over here. Smushy, smushy, smush, dot, 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 smushy, smush. This is one of the main techniques and principles I teach in my book, Everyday Watercolor, which is my first book. You can find all of my books and where they're sold at jennarainey.com/books. I have 4 published books, which is crazy. And I cover this kind of adding dimension technique with trees in these simple shapes in that book.
Do you consider yourself an author or more of a painter?
So Authoring a how-to book is very, very different from like a novel or a memoir type of book, or even like a self-help book or anything like that. It's a very different style of writing, and also formatting, all the things. It's way less in depth and also creative, because you have to be really straightforward with your language when you're writing a how-to book. You can't be abstract, obviously. I don't want to confuse people with where I'm placing the brush and which brush I'm using with like abstract language. And now I'm going to do a little bit of a gravelly ground because the trees in the backyard are on a gravel ground. So I do really enjoy writing. That's actually why I started my Substack recently. Check it out. Is because I've always really enjoyed writing. I've done it, just as a hobby for my own self in my journal, or just, writing poetry and songs as a really angsty teenager, as one does. So I've done a lot of that, but also I want to explore it and like I want to get better at writing, because I am currently writing children's books and working with a publisher on a nonfiction like book on creativity in childhoods. And so I want to get better at writing. I want to get better at the way I see and notice things, even just for like my painting practice, too. But I would consider, I've just been doing art for as long as I've been writing, but in a more serious, like, I want to get good at this way for longer than with writing. So like, while I do consider myself a writer because I write, I'm a writer. I would say that my skills lie currently more so in the painting department and the art department, because I've been doodling and painting for most of my life. So I'm just doing like a little quick ground thing part, to feel like more completed with this painting, and just using my size 2 brush for this dry texture and dragging out these colors to make it look like a rough, dirt or gravelly patch. But you could keep it just like that and really simple. Love how this tree came out. I would keep my ground a little bit even more simple than this, especially on this side. But I think if I just take some water and blend that out a little bit more so it's not so left-right, it makes it feel a little bit more complete and cohesive. And you could play with shadows. You could play with a cast shadow on the tree, like what I do with colored pencil. You could do a little blue thing. But paint some trees. Trees are so much fun. I have a great series on my YouTube channel, so more free videos on trees. I think it's part 1 and 2, where I've done fall trees. I've done not fall trees. And so if you want to explore more of your technique with brushes and how to use the brush, trees are a really great place to practice for really improving your brush technique and also adding shadow. So I'll link to those videos in this one so you can check out those tree videos. And as always, thank you so much for joining and watching and subscribing and engaging. Obviously, all of it helps us continue to make these videos for you to improve your art skills and become more creative and all the things. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in next week's video.